Well, 3 years before his death, President Kennedy spent one day here in the capital region as a candidate, taking in a lot of the region in a very short amount of time. These are the images of President John F. Kennedy that the nation is remembering this week from 50 years ago in Dallas.
From Dallas, Texas, the flash, apparently official, President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time.
But the capital region's enduring image of JFK came 3 years earlier when on one day in 1960, candidate Kennedy went on a whirlwind tour of our area. On September 29, 1960, a little more than a month before Election Day, he delivered speeches in Albany, Troy, Schenectady, and Amsterdam. He spoke on the steps of the state capitol and joked to the huge crowd about how not much work was getting done that day in Albany. In Troy, he addressed an overflow crowd in Monument Square. And there to hear him was 5-year-old Nancy Spain of Wineskill. Her image captured by renowned Times Union photographer Bernard Kohlenberg.
They stuck a big campaign hat on my head and had me hold a sign, and I just stood on this street corner with a lot of people behind me watching.
Nancy's dad, a Rensselaer County legislator, took her out of kindergarten for this special day.
There was definitely excitement. Everybody was down there. It was a whole mass of people down around Monument Square in Troy.
From there, Kennedy headed west to Schenectady. His remarks there were brief, but he also made time to ride in a motorcade with Congressman Sam Stratton and urged voters to re-elect Stratton, which they did. And then it was on to Amsterdam to give a speech in a parking lot on Grove Street.
Well, it was a beautiful day, for one thing, what they call Kennedy weather.
Longtime area radio host Bob Cudmore grew up in Amsterdam. He was there that day.
I wanted to go see John Kennedy. I had been a supporter of his, even though I was only a sophomore in high school. I was wearing a Kennedy button all the time. And my friend Paul Russo and I just walked out of school.
His buddy Paul got up close and personal with JFK. He shook the future president's hand.
Paul, in fact, I think said he jumped up on the platform, or a platform, to shake Kennedy's hand. I never have been very athletic. In fact, Paul, to come to think of it, was a pole vaulter, so he was good for that job.
Was this a really big day for the city of Amsterdam? It must have been.
Oh, it was. Yes. In fact, I think that's why we went. 3,000 people, I believe, showed up.
Albany, Troy, Schenectady, and Amsterdam. For a matter of hours, Camelot on the Hudson and Mohawk rivers.
So how does it feel forever being linked to JFK through that photo?
Well, that's a good feeling. He's a good person to be linked to.
The JFK Amsterdam trip apparently did the trick in Montgomery County. Kennedy won the county by just a slim margin over Richard Nixon. And you heard